From soldier to dictator, Sani Abacha's reign over Nigeria was a storm of contradictions, a regime that built highways with one hand and shackled democracy with the other. Rising through military coups and civil war, he seized power in 1993, pledging order by ruling with an iron fist. Under his watch, foreign reserves swelled, debt shrank, and cities glittered with new infrastructure. Yet, dissenters vanished into prison or graves, while billions vanished into foreign banks. This is the story of Sani Abacha. Sani Abacha's formative years in Nigeria's culturally rich Kano state were marked by the influences of traditional Kanuri practices and values. Born on September 20, 1943, his early life, though not extensively documented, offers glimpses into the cultural tapestry that shaped his character. The Kanuri people, known for their rich history and customs, likely played a significant role in molding Abacha's worldview. In 1962, at the age of 19, Abacha took his first steps into military life by enrolling in the Nigerian Military Training College in Kaduna. His time there was crucial in honing his tactical skills and understanding of military operations. This foundational training was further advanced when he attended the Mons Officer Cadet Training in Aldershot, England, a renowned institution that prepared young officers for future leadership roles in their respective armies. Commissioned as a second lieutenant in 1963, Abacha's military career commenced during a chaotic period in Nigeria's history, just after gaining independence from British colonial rule in 1960. Abacha's early military career was defined by Nigeria's political instability, which included his involvement in the July 1966 counter-coup and potentially the January 1966 coup, marking him as a key figure in the military interventions that shaped Nigeria's political landscape. The Nigerian Civil War, 1967 to 1970, further boosted his military credentials as he served with distinction as a platoon and battalion commander. This period was crucial in consolidating his tactical acumen and leadership skills, contributing significantly to the federal government's effort against the Biafra secession. His steady rise through the military ranks was an indication to his strategic prowess and unwavering commitment. In 1968, Abacha was promoted to captain, followed by major in 1972, colonel in 1975, major general in 1982, and eventually attaining the rank of general in October 1990. Notably, he was the first in the Nigerian military to reach the rank of general without skipping a rank, reflecting his methodical and strategic ascent. By 1975, he commanded the 2nd Infantry Division, and his role in the 1983 coup that ousted President Shehu Shagari was instrumental in bringing General Muhammadu Buhari to power. Sani Abacha's involvement in subsequent coups, including the 1985 coup that replaced Buhari with General Ibrahim Babangida, further cemented his position in Nigeria's military hierarchy. He served as Chief of Army Staff from 1985 to 1990, Chief of Defense Staff 1990 to 1993, and Minister of Defense. His personal life was anchored by his marriage to Mariam Jid, with whom he had 10 children, balancing familial commitment with his demanding military career. The political landscape in Nigeria in 1993 was one of significant turbulence and change. The country was poised for a democratic transition with the freest and fairest election since independence. Moshood Abiola emerged victorious, capturing the hopes and aspirations of many Nigerians. However, the annulment of the election results by General Babangida plunged the nation into chaos, sparking widespread protests and civil unrest. Amidst this backdrop, Babangida's resignation in August 1993 led to the appointment of Chief Ernest Shonikan as head of an interim government. This arrangement, however, was short-lived as Abacha, then serving as Minister of Defense, orchestrated a bloodless coup on November 17, 1993, effectively overthrowing Shonikan's administration. This move was the culmination of years of strategic maneuvering and established Abacha as the country's head of state, marking the last successful military coup in Nigeria's history. The reaction to Abacha's ascension was mixed. While some welcomed the restoration of order amidst the chaos, others feared the entrenchment of military rule. Abacha's grip on power was firm, and he quickly set about consolidating his authority, making sweeping changes to the governance structure and positioning himself as the central figure in Nigeria's political landscape. Abacha's regime from 1993 to 1998 was characterized by a paradoxical blend of economic progress and political repression. On the economic front, his administration achieved significant milestones. Foreign exchange reserves soared from $494 million in 1993 to an impressive $9.6 billion by mid-1997. His government also succeeded in reducing Nigeria's external debt from $36 billion to $27 billion by 1997, while inflation was kept from a staggering 54% to 8.5%. These achievements were primarily driven by robust oil revenue, with crude oil prices stabilizing around $15 per barrel, fueling GDP growth above 2.2% in 1995. Sani Abacha's economic policies included halting the privatization initiatives started by his predecessor, General Babangida, and focusing instead on strengthening state industries. Infrastructure development was a priority, with urban roads projects spanning 25 to 100 kilometers in cities such as Kano, Gusau, Benin, and Lagos. His administration also reorganized Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones and added 6 new states, bringing the total to 36 in a bid to streamline governance and enhance administrative efficiency. However, these economic gains were overshadowed by widespread human rights abuses. In 1994, Abacha issued decrees that placed the government above the judiciary, permitting detention without trial for up to 3 months. The abrogation of Decree 691 of 1993 further entrenched his authoritarian rule. He established a formidable 3,000-man personal security force, trained in North Korea, under the command of his chief security officer, Hamza al-Mustafa, ensuring an iron grip on power. Abacha's regime was notorious for suppressing dissent, with prominent figures such as Moshood Abiola jailed for treason, a charge that ultimately led to Abiola's death in custody in July 1998. Other notable figures, including former military leaders Olusegun Obasanjo and Oladipo Diya, were incarcerated on charges of plotting coup, while Shehu Yaradua died in custody in 1997. The execution of Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni activists on November 10, 1995, following a controversial trial, sparked international outrage and led to Nigeria's suspension from the Commonwealth. Sani Abacha's foreign policy was equally controversial, highlighted by hosting Libya's Muammar Gaddafi in 1997. In defiance of United Nations sanctions. His administration also engaged in military intervention through the Economic Community of West African State Monitoring Group (ECOMOG) in Liberia. Despite these contentious actions, Abacha cultivated relationships with influential U.S. politicians. Corruption under Abacha's rule reached unprecedented levels, allegedly embezzling between $2 billion and $5 billion. He was ranked 4th among the world's most self-enriching leaders in 2004. His methods included fabricating security funding requests and orchestrating the delivery of $1.4 billion in cash through the central bank, with funds laundered via offshore accounts. Abacha's national security advisor, Ismaila Juwazo, son Mohammed Abacha, and close associate Mohammed Sada were implicated in the corruption scandal. Post-1998 recovery efforts yielded significant returns, with Switzerland repatriating over $1 billion by 2018, the United States seizing $480 million in 2014, Jersey forfeiting $267 million in 2019, and ongoing restitution from the UK and France. These efforts included $308 million earmarked for infrastructure projects in 2020. Sani Abacha's sudden death on June 8, 1998, at Aso Villa in Abuja marked the end of his dictatorship. The circumstances surrounding his demise remained shrouded in mystery, with reports of either a heart attack or poisoning, as his doctor suggested in a BBC interview. His passing paved the way for General Abdulsalami Abubakar to assume leadership and steer Nigeria towards civilian rule by 1999 under the presidency of Olusegun Obasanjo. Reactions to Abacha's death were varied. Internationally, there was a surge of optimism for Nigeria's democratic future, while domestically, opinions were divided. Some Nigerians mourned the loss of economic stability, while others welcomed the prospect of democratic governance and the end of military rule. The transition marked the beginning of Nigeria's Fourth Republic, a period characterized by efforts to recover Abacha's embezzled wealth and address the systemic corruption that plagued his regime. Investigations into Abacha's financial dealings were launched under Obasanjo's administration, revealing the extent of the looting and setting the stage for ongoing recovery efforts. Abacha's legacy remains contentious and divisive, while some, including President Muhammadu Buhari, have praised his contributions to infrastructure development and economic stability. Others have focused on the repressive nature of his rule and the massive corruption that flourished during his tenure. His family was classified as a criminal organization by Swiss authorities, although legal battles over the recovery and allocation of embezzled funds continue well into the 21st century. Efforts to repatriate stolen assets were aimed at supporting Nigerians' development, but Abacha's name remained synonymous with kleptocracy and authoritarian rule. Historians and political analysts continue to debate the long-term impact of Abacha's policies, weighing his economic achievements against the democratic hindrances imposed by his autocratic governance. His regime exemplifies the complex challenges faced by emerging democracies in balancing economic growth with political freedoms.